Hey guys, Ganondorf123 here, and I already kind of made a tutorial about this a while back for Hylian Toolbox, but it was kind of awful. So instead I'm going to be redoing this tutorial for custom maps in Ocarina of Time, but instead of instead of Hylian Toolbox, we're going to be using SharpOcarina. Why? Because because Hylian Toolbox is buggy and, well, it's incompatible with real hardware. So let's get into this. This is also going to be a little tutorial on different ways you can use SketchUp to create pretty good maps. So first we want to set up SketchUp so that we have all the tools that we need. And SketchUp comes with a fair amount of things that you could use. If you've opened up SketchUp already, you'll probably notice your layout probably doesn't look like this. If you're new to SketchUp, then you'll be like, what is all this? Mine doesn't show all this. But that's okay, because I'm gonna teach you how to change that. So go to View, Toolbars, okay, and you don't need the Get Started one because the large tool set pretty much covers everything you'll need. So you could just use that instead. So go ahead and turn on the large tool set. The sandbox tools are pretty useful, so I recommend having them on. And the views, this is in case you want to get an overhead view or a very front view or whatever suits your needs. These are the three main ones that you'll probably want to open. Everything else is pretty much optional. So let me just move this up. If you don't know how SketchUp works, you can easily move up toolbars and stuff by clicking on the dotted row or the row of dots. Excuse me. And that pretty much does whatever you want it to. Like if you want to drag these out into the actual whatever, you can do that, and you can easily drag them back in here. So let's start off with just like a simple let's just make a shape of some sort. So come up here on the large tool set and just let's draw a freehand shape. So say we want to make just a weird looking something like you'd see on a map, and there we go. It's a little rough there, and we don't need that little tiny dot, so let's get rid of that. And you'll notice everything here is blue, which we don't want for Ocarina of Time. So anything that you want to see, hit reverse faces and make sure it's white. So right click and hit reverse faces on it and it'll switch it, because the blue is a back face and the white is a front face. So what we want to be visible needs to be white. Okay, and you'll see we have our guy here, but he's standing on just this plain white surface. So how do we give this some more, I don't know, texture? Well, it's easy. So we go to click up here on the paint bucket tool, and it'll bring you into the materials list. Now you'll see all these folders here and be like, wow, can I use all these? Well, you probably shouldn't, because most of them are too high for Ocarina of Time to handle, but you can scale them down later, but we don't want to do that. For now, click on this drop down and switch to In Model. And that'll bring you to all the ones that are currently being used. All the ones that are here are the ones stored in this guy right here, so you can see, like, that's his face, that's his hair, so on and so forth. So now we're going to go to File, Import, because we're going to take one of Ocarina of Time's textures. I'll leave a link in the downloads, in the description to the download for all the textures in Ocarina of Time. And so just go to wherever you extracted the folder. Mine's somewhere here in my documents. Okay, open. Sorry about this, just my computer being slow. And Be sure to set the files of type to all supported images so that you can import any of these. I had mine set to 3DS for whatever reason, which we don't want. Let's see, what do we want? We probably want some kind of grass, so let's go into Hyrule Field and look for a nice grass texture. This will have to do. And you'll see now it follows your cursor around. I don't know if I have the cursor setting on in Camtasia, so you might not be able to see it. But yeah, here it has the cursor. So I'm just going to want to put it wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. And then scale it up so that it looks nice. And voila, you have a square. But we want this texture to cover the whole thing, don't we? Well, here's what you do. Click on... Oh, well, probably shouldn't have put it on there. Let's just delete our face. Don't worry, it's not gone. We can bring it back. So we're going to click on this, right-click on it, and hit Explode. And as you can see, now it appears in our model section. And now we're just going to go to the eraser tool and select it all, delete it. Now how do we get our face to come back? I said you could bring it back before, but how do you do that? Well, let's just find one of these endpoints with the pencil tool up here. So you click on the endpoint, which will appear green, and you drag to another endpoint, and voila, it'll fill in our model again. Problem is, it's blue, so again, right-click, hit reverse faces. Now, to use the texture we just exploded, you could click on the paint bucket tool and go back into click on the texture. From there, you just click on the models you want to paint. If you want to change this guy's shirt to look like grass, you can do that, but you have to open them up first. And you see SketchUp uses these things called groups. So, okay, we got this nice little grass plane here. What else can we do with it? It kind of looks a little plain. Well, how about we add some rock walls? Because, you know, Zelda games are kind of infamous with big brown walls standing in your way everywhere you go. So, let's draw a nice square around our place with the square tool. You'll notice it'll cover up our old model. Just hit reverse faces on both of these. And you'll have to repaint this, but whatever. And now you're going to click on the push and pull tool. See, that's what we're going to use to bring our walls, because you might be wondering, hey, why did I create a square? Well, now you're going to click on our square and start moving your cursor upward. As you can see, it's starting to make a wall, which is pretty cool, huh? Now we're going to go into our eraser tool and delete all this unnecessary stuff. Okay, so our walls are here. They're walls, not much to them. But you know, they kind of look a little plain, so let's give them a texture too. So go to, much like before, you go to File, Import, and let's find a nice wall texture. Probably something good in Kakariko Village. So let's see, Kakariko Village. There we go. Open. Now, we're just going to want to line it up with the endpoints here, because we want it to be the same size as our wall. Okay, that's good. Drag it away from the wall so that it doesn't become part of it when we explode it, which it will do if you don't move it, and hit Explode. Now you can go to your paint bucket tool and just paint it on the wall. But now you're probably saying, oh god, look, they're these ugly seams. What do we do about those? And most people will probably say, oh, this is SketchUp. You can't do anything about it. But in fact, there is a way. So go back to your paint bucket tool. And now if you notice, if you hold Alt, it brings up a nice little eyedropper here. So click on the little part of your wall with the eyedropper. And then let go of Alt, and then click on the next part of your wall. Oh wait, I forgot about something. My bad, I forgot about something. Okay, I figured it out. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to Control A to select your entire model, and you're going to want to go on Soften Edges like before. You're going to want to drag it all the way to the end and then all the way back. And that should do the trick. Now, as you see, our walls are separate. And if we turn off... Oh, I already turned off Hidden Geometry. So as you can see, all our walls are separate, like they're supposed to be. Okay. Make sure your texture isn't set to projected. So again, use the eyedropper tool. You just can't make this easy, can you, SketchUp? Oh, I forgot. You're going to have to move the image a little bit first. So what you're going to want to do that is you go to Texture, Position, and then just drag it a little bit. No big deal. Hold Alt to click on it, and then you can start painting it along your walls. And if we turn off edges, you can see that it's mostly seamless. Just look at that. Those seams are just magically disappearing, aren't they? So yep, just paint it all the way around. Now the problem is it won't make it completely seamless. Once you make it all the way around, there will be a seam again. So that's a small problem with this particular way of doing it. But hey, one seam versus no others, I think it's a pretty good trade-off. But that's just me. So let's turn the edges back on View, Edges. And yeah, that's pretty much how you make it mostly seamless. Okay, so yeah, we have our map here and everything looks good, right? I think we're ready to put it in the game. Except now we gotta delete this guy, so just right click on him and erase. Now he's gone. So yeah, everything should be ready. So yeah, export 3D model. Options, inches, use inches. Select our map. Open up your map file in, open it in Notepad. So we're gonna see this text here, GMesh model 1, or GMesh model rather. We're gonna Control C that, so edit, copy pretty much. Now we're gonna close that out. Drag map.obj into OOT texturefix.exe. You'll be given this new OBJ. And as you'll see, there's this little space here. In that space, we're just gonna paste what we copied before. And I like to add these extra spaces here. Just makes it look a little neater. It's my thing. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Okay, so now we can just close that out. Go back into SharpOcarina and open up mapdev.exe. That's SharpOcarina. So go to File, New Scene. Let's turn on Outdoor Scene, so that means that there's going to be a skybox and everything. Because when you're inside in Ocarina of Time, there is no skybox. They don't bother to render one. And now what we need to do is put in the collision model. This is pretty much everything Link is going to bump into. It's going to keep him from falling through the world and walking through walls. Unless you want that sort of thing, we got to put in a collision model. So hit the 3 dots here. Then select our new OBJ. Okay. Now go to Rooms, because this is what we're actually going to see. Click Add Room, and select the OBJ. Select our OBJ. There we go. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Doesn't it look just like it did in SketchUp, huh? take a look at that. So yeah, that's what we want to do. It looks good, right? Now, if we go to General, we can simulate Nintendo 64 graphics, and it'll kind of show us what it's going to look like in-game. Of course, for some reason, the collision model is currently selected, so I can't really do anything. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now what we're going to want to do is go into File, Inject into ROM. And we need to get a ROM, so I'm going to go copy my ROM that I have. I can't leave a link to this, so you'll just have to find it yourself. Legal things. I don't want to get in trouble. So you'll have to find the debug ROM on your own. It has to be the debug ROM too. You can't use the normal ROM. And just hit save. Replace it. Yes. Now it says scene number 108. And if I'm correct, that is the Strongbox War. And I think it's listed as scene 117 in Ocarina of Time. So now that we got that injected. Okay, so what you're going to want to do now is open your ROM in Project 64, because now we're going to test it out. I already did this once before, but I loaded the wrong map, so the game crashed, blah blah blah. My game has Bloom on it, don't worry about that. Go to room 117. I loaded the wrong room, so the game crashed. And as you'll see, our map is here. And it looks as beautiful as it did in SketchUp, doesn't it? Yep, sure is amazing. So now what you're probably wondering is, how do I add things to this map? I mean, we have Link here, but how do we add others? Well, I'm gonna wait till a different tutorial to cover that, because I'm lazy and, you know, lazy. Laziness trumps all other feelings. So yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. Works perfectly fine. What do you want, Abby? I know. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.